Hello, hello. It is your favorite Mexican American in Germany, back with one of our first lives of 2022. So, you know the deal here if you're a regular follower. Every week, I go live with some of my incredible friends and mentors that are in the industry or are doing incredible things around the world. So, today, we are going to be learning from a client of mine that actually worked with me in the Move Abroad Masterclass, and she has made her pivot into tech officially. So she will be starting her new job today, I think, which is super, super exciting. I saw her come in, but I haven't seen her request to join yet. Let's try to get her in here. Rosanna, if you, oh, I can just invite you. There we go. So we're going to be talking about how to move. Oh, there she is. Hello.
Hello, good morning from
Hello.
Miami.
Yes. Well, you are looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for someone who is just waking up and starting their day.
I am. Well, thank you very much. I woke up a couple of hours ago so I could look decent for everybody here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. We have people all the way from like Malaysia to the United States. It's really quite an international community. So, Rosanna, can you introduce yourself, where you're from, and where you're currently living?
Yes, my name is Rosanna Greco, and I'm originally from Venezuela, and I moved to Miami in August 2002. So that's almost 20 years this summer in Miami.
Oh my goodness. Well, you were such a brave young woman to come all the way to a new country by yourself, right? Or were you with family?
No, I was by myself. I finished university. I didn't even go to my graduation back then. The situation in Venezuela was starting to get really out of control. And I have older siblings. My sister was already in Miami, and Miami was a very easy transition. So although my family is from Italy, Miami is pretty close to Venezuela. So it was really a familiar territory. And this is where I've been for the past almost 2 decades.
Oh my goodness. Well, you made that huge leap of faith by yourself when you were a young woman. And then you decided, even though you had experience moving your career abroad, to enroll in my Move Abroad Masterclass. Can you tell everyone a little bit about why you decided to do that?
Yes, absolutely. Because although when I was 24, I had all the vigor and all the drive and absolutely no fear, and I was running from a really bad political the situation. I really had nothing to lose. So I didn't have any fears. I was just starting, fresh out of school or college. And now I'm in a different place in my life. Obviously, I have my apartment. I've had a great job for the past 12 years. And I joined your class, and that became in my search to find clarity. Just because I could pick up my stuff and do the same thing I did at 24, but now I'm 43 and I don't want to do that again. I want to think things through, and this is why I joined your class, to gain clarity and to gain, education and a point of view from someone that has done it multiple times. I just did it once a long time ago.
Well, we still respect and honor your legacy because you did it OG style. So no Google, no social media to be like, these are the tips, blah, blah. You just started a new life in a new country.
Exactly. That's what I did. You did something like that too on your own. So.
True. I moved abroad when I was 21, so I was like dumb enough to believe I could do it with no planning. And it all worked out, thank God. But in addition to moving your career abroad to a new location, you also had ambitions of working in tech. So what were you doing before you made your job pivot, and what will you be doing today, right? Today's your first day?
Today's my first day, correct. Sure. I for the past close to 12 years, I've been working in food service. The bulk of my experience in the US has been in hospitality. I did fabric embedding for hotel rooms. I did furniture, and then since 2010, I was working for this food service dealer, and we sold, or they sell, restaurant supplies and equipment. So I was with them opening the South Florida territory. Then I managed a great team, and I was with them for a long time. Now, starting today, I am working with a German tech company. Yes, that is absolutely completely different. And I went redundant there of what it used to do. It has nothing to do with hospitality. It has nothing to do with sales and management. I am joining a company that provides learning and development for corporations. So anything that is executive coaching or corporate coaching, but in a digital format.
Mm-hmm. And what a transition that is, because I think you came in and you were just like, what? I don't even know where to start with this job hunt to pivot into tech and to move abroad at the same time. So what do you think was the most difficult thing that our one-to-one coaching was able to help you with?
Well, on top of the class that I really enjoy, we had a great cohort of people. I think, one of the big takeaways that I had, not only with our group sessions, but also with our one-on-ones, is that you gave me really concrete advice. Meaning, it's not coaching in a way that a lot of life coaches are, which I've had some life coaches, and it's not about, hype and hoorah, which is all great. I wanted a specific steps. So, let's talk about resume building or a CV, for the German market. Let's get very specific on keywords and skills. Let's get very specific on the low-hanging fruit that you used to say. Okay, how can we, use your skills, and what areas can we target? So I got that, very well from your one-on-ones, and also from your follow-ups that you used to send me that email with, okay, these are the action items and So also when it came to the negotiation and the interview process, I mean, I did 4 interviews with this company. So I very much valued our one-on-one calls, and I appreciate the help, just because it was, although I applied to many jobs, before, when I got into your course, part of your course also includes the kind of the resume, and you give us an example. So that's what I started using, and that actually worked out. I think I got 2 or 3 interviews after starting working with you, and with 2 companies. And this was my second one, and I got it. So, I mean, 2 interviews, I got a job offer. I mean, that's not bad stats at all.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a numbers game when you're applying for a job, and then you had this added complexity where you were trying to pivot into a different industry with different vocabulary. So I was very happy to be your secret spy in the process. I think you also, before your in-person case study interview, 2 days before, you're like, this is the case study. What do I do? Or do you have any feedback? And we literally sat down and went word for word. What stats are they looking for? How do you answer these questions? What can you anticipate? And it's because I've been through that over and over and over again. So I was so happy to share that knowledge with you. I hope it helped, and that they were impressed that you knew what these things were.
Yeah, I think that was what closed the deal, because, as I said before, I was with the same company for almost 12 years. So, I don't want to sound like a relic, but I hadn't been interviewing or anything like this in a long time. So it's a completely new world. Obviously, with COVID, all of these procedures or processes have changed. And although a job search is pretty much the same thing, a job search, the methods now are completely different than what I used to do before. When I got this job, I posted my resume on Craigslist, and a recruiter called me. It was really easy. I'm like, okay, well, I hope everything's like this. It's a different world. It's a completely different world. And it's, learning how to adjust your resume to bypass the ATS, or to kind of, click on those keywords, and just make sure that you tailor your resume to the job, not just have one size fits all. Also with the case study, I've never done a case study before. You remember that I was panicking. I'm like, what the heck am I supposed to do? So yeah, I'm glad that you were there to help me, and I'm truly grateful for that.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. You know me, I'm an anarchist, and it's my greatest joy to dismantle systems of oppression. So by getting another Latina into tech, so we can better represent ourselves and people who we are serving, it just makes it so worth all the work that we're doing. I also had some questions about that whole process of doubting yourself as you go through the job applications or the moving abroad logistics. How did you deal with that sort of like internal reflection of, is this right for me, or is this even going to work?
Well, I can say from, from I was 24 until now. So when I was 24, my mind was set on it, and I'm like, I don't care. And, I'm just going to do it. And back then, pretty much all of my friends we were on a massive exodus. So you were like joining the crowds. Now, what I decided to do as an adult now is another one of your great wise, is one crisis at a time. Yeah. So I wanted to get everything done. I wanted to just like move abroad with this job or whatever. And what they really needed right now is someone like me for the US team. So you know what? Okay, one thing I got checked out of my list. Okay, so I'm in tech now, and I'm gonna learn the ropes, and I know I'm gonna have a learning curve. But I'm excited to see it. So how did I deal with that? My most frustrating part was to apply to so many jobs and not get as many interviews as I wanted. So, trying to, and I'm guilty of it, and I'm going to blame the stars. I'm an Aries. I'm just like, I'm going to apply here. And, I think I'm the center of the universe, and everything's going to happen in 5 minutes. And patience is not one of my virtues. And that was, I remember you saying, let the CV do the Lord's work or whatever. And I'm like, oh God, no. I mean, anyway, so it did take time. It did take a shift in mindset. Also, part of what I wanted to share with everybody is with the Move Abroad course. Also, you also honed down, and going back to that clarity point. At the beginning, I, didn't think that I was going to, first of all, pivot into tech in Miami. I said, I'm just going to leave everything. And you know what? And then I started to reconsider my options. Why not learn and then use this as a bridge, for the future. But also what I was going to say, it's like we come into this course with very, how are we going to say, romantic ideals. And this is, I would love to live in Vienna. That was one of my things. And I'm like, what the heck am I going to do in Vienna? Like if I wanted to stay away from hospitality or do something completely different, I mean, Vienna is, yes, the food capital of, Austria. But if I wanted to do something different, I need to be very realistic where I need to go. So for everybody to know, you not only we do weekly sessions, but you also do a project, a presentation for the whole cohort. And I think where everybody started, and then looking at, okay, rent is going to cost this much, and transportation is going to cost this much, and moving there and doing power of attorneys, like you consider every single point that relates to a move, not only, the main points such as a visa or, how do I take my dogs? I don't have dogs, it's for people to have pets. So you actually go through all of those things, and that brings a whole map that you could say, okay, this is how the big picture looks like. I also have very detailed, idea of how much the rent is in Berlin, in your neighborhood. Yeah, we talk about that too. How much my grocery bill.
Get her to be my neighbor.
Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. This company is based out of Berlin, so be careful what you wish for. How much the groceries are going to be. So that it's covered throughout the course, which I think was incredibly valuable. Just because you're not just relying on some website to tell you, oh yeah, this is gonna cost you this. Like, okay, this is the neighborhood. These are the 3 areas that I want to live in. Okay, let me look there, and then let me set up, some reminders so I can look at the rents. So I think that part of the program really addressed a lot of the fears that everybody has, especially I'm like, okay, where do I go and how do I get there and how much it's going to cost me? And
really, yeah, like money is such a big empowering factor, and also like fear-based or fear-focused thing, because when you're moving to a new country, there's so many new things that you can't always anticipate everything, but we're gonna sure as hell try. And at least that way you have your emergency fund, you have like reasonable expectations of what you're meant to spend. I think it also tends to be a lot lower than people first expect, because I think in your cohort, someone came to us and they were like, we have a $15,000 fund to move us across the world. And I was like, great. First of all, fantastic. But based off of where you want to move, I don't think that whole amount of money can just be for moving logistics. Like maybe we can spread it across like tax support or legal support. And it's not just getting you from one place to another. We have a question here about the class. It's gone now for some reason, but it was asking, would this help entrepreneurs move abroad and find a corporate job abroad? And the answer is yes. I started my career as an entrepreneur, and then I moved into travel tech with my experience. They loved that I was so scrappy and able to create something from nothing. So that is my journey, and that is what I'm an expert in. So I hope to see you there if you're still in this live. Secondly, let's talk about how you've kind of changed your strategy a little bit. So initially, your focus was on get a job in Berlin and then move there ASAP. Instead, now what have you decided to do?
Well, I have decided when I got this job offer, part of it was to stay on East Coast time. And I'm like, listen, if I've been in Miami for 20 years, a few more years not gonna hurt.
Yeah.
And part of the attractiveness of this role is like, it's pretty much, although it's a big company in many other countries, it's relatively new to the US. So it's a small team that wants to grow. So it's a foundation right there. So I don't know what doors are going to open, and like I said before, it's a learning curve. I need to learn a new industry. I need to learn, the lingo. I need to learn the ropes, and also build the network, which is one of our takeaways from our talks too. Hey, build your network on LinkedIn. I went beyond LinkedIn. I went on Clubhouse, and I went on Facebook expat groups, and this is from one of those groups I got the link for job openings for this company that I'm starting with today. So yeah, it's all about the network too. The network is crucial, and and you really honed in on those, and you connected me with a lot of people. So not only our one-on-ones gave me a lot of clarity, but I was able to use some of your personal network and your resources for my search.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry if you can hear my neighbors drilling above me. Is it coming through? Well, in Germany, our homes are built of concrete. So when you drill something, you need an industrial tool, because you can't get through the wall otherwise. And it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt when you're trying to do an Instagram live, but we will persevere. So now that you have your new job and you're learning your new skills, is your strategy, or just so everyone's clear, because I know the answer to this, is your strategy to leverage your new job and its internationalism to move forward in your relocation in the future?
Yes, like I said, this will open many doors that I'm still not aware of. I first want to learn, and I want to succeed with the team here. I want to prove myself, just because that may develop into something else. So yeah, leverage the new skills, leverage the job, leverage that it's an international company that is growing in many countries too. So if I look at the job openings, I see them in Mexico, I see them in Australia. So this is a company that is going global, and that's part of what attracted me to be with a global team. That's obviously something that I really wanted to do.
And that's the best piece of advice I could give anyone, honestly, because my company is also an international company, and that's how I've been able to move to different countries with them while keeping my job. So that sort of flexibility you only get with a larger, like more entrepreneurial company, or a company that has skills that are so easily transferable, like tech, finance, and operations, maybe. The ones that you're going to have a difficult time translating over to different countries are going to be the civil servant positions, the healthcare positions, because there's also always a language component for most most countries. So when you're thinking about getting a job abroad, guys, you need to focus on flexibility and opportunity for you to take your career into different places relatively easy. And Rosanna, if someone is a little bit older than 21 or 24 moving to a new country, what would you tell that person about moving abroad?
You read my mind, just because I was going to touch on that point too. I would say, I mean, I have many friends that are on the same boat. They're looking for ways to, you know, to have that experience. And what I like about a cohort is, like, we have people from all ages. So not only we had the students, you know, they wanted to move abroad and study, you know, elsewhere, just because, you know, they want to have that experience. But you also have, you know, you also had women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. So you know, just because also women, we have to think about ageism is a real thing. And try to, you know, now I'm not gonna say cluster, but like brainstorm and just like get within our groups and just see how is this possible. And every woman that we went through your course, we have a plan now, and the journey may be different from what we originally guessed or what we wanted to do, but we're gonna get there. You know, I was even looking at when we started, or when I started your course, I even put the idea of, like, maybe I should go back to school. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad. But no.
Well, it's just so hard when you taste money and you're like, oh, I can now afford all the things that I want to do. Do I really want to go back to school?
I really want to go back to study. I'm like, you know, I'm still, I mean, I'm technically learning German for the past, you know, year and a half consistently. So I'm studying.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that you have so many options in front of you, Rosanna. Like, truly, the world is your oyster. You have languages, you have opportunities, you are in demand, even if you are more mature in your career or trying something new for the first time, which is an inspiration to all of us, really, truly and honestly. When you are talking to your friends and family, like, do they have any opinions about you moving abroad? Because I know some people can get nervous about the expectations of others.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm always the crazy one. I'm the youngest of three. So it's like, well, what are you talking about? You know, and then US, what do you want to, like, why not? I mean, I said briefly, you know, my family, my dad is from Italy. I have tons of friends and family overseas. So, and I've always wanted to have that experience. You know, I've been fortunate that I've been able to travel to Europe since I'm a kid, you know, constantly, and every year I try to go there, see friends and all that. And I never want to come back. So that's, you know, that's something that has stayed with me for many, many years. And I want to experience that, you know, I want to have that, obviously, mostly in the second half of my life, you know, maybe a slower pace, or maybe some better work-life balance and all that. So you have to really define your priorities, I guess, you know. Especially if people have families or they have children, getting a career abroad is actually cheaper than in the United States. And you don't know that until you start really looking in the numbers, like, okay, well, wow, okay, this could be it. So maybe that's why, you know, some of the adults now, my friends, are like looking at it, or some of my friends are older, are looking into going back to Europe. The Europeans are like going back to for retirement. So also, one of the things that we both have in common is, like, we want to retire earlier than what it is, you know. You know. So when I talk to my family, obviously we're a little bit in shock that I left the company that I was with so long. But it was consistent to what I've been saying for the past few years. So, you know, they were a little, you know, surprised, just because I didn't say anything throughout my process. But I think they accepted it, just because it's also, it's happening everywhere. Everybody's changing jobs now.
Yep.
So we're part of the masses.
Yeah. And you know what? We have such a short time on this earth. It would be such a disservice not to try, not to put yourself out there and see, can I do this new thing in this new country and discover what else the world has to offer me, you know?
Yeah, and even if I don't end up moving for XYZ reason,
Mhm.
I did something I wanted to do, which was, pivot into tech. I wanted to be a woman in tech. So,
Yeah.
and I wanted to do something completely different to what I was doing. I want to learn new skills. I want to learn a new industry. So one crisis at a time, this one, check.
Yes. Well, I am never worried about you because you are so scrappy. You have so much energy. I loved working with you and having you in my course. Maybe I'll create another course so I can just hang out with you even more. Or we're probably going to get a drink once you become my neighbor, and that'll just settle that.
Or next time you come to the US, try not to cancel Miami off your list. So.
I know. I was just so worried I wasn't going to get back to Europe, but our futures are going to align. It's just how the universe works with people like us. But we are at the end of our live because I have to jump back into work calls since tech ladies never sleep. Rosanna, thank you so much for being on the show. If anyone has any questions, where can they find you? And are you open to them asking you questions?
Sure. My Instagram handle is at Lady Rosanna G. I have a private account, but I'm gonna make it public so you guys can if you want to connect and you want to ask me any questions, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm Rosanna Greco, my name and my last name. Happy to connect.
Amazing. Well, I cannot wait to see you on some part of the world, and good luck on your first day of your new job.
Thank you. I'm excited. Thank you
I
so
feel like a proud mother. I just want to take a Polaroid picture of you or something.
Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, maybe you can send me a selfie instead. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you on the internet.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye, Vanessa.